Om Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to another Yoga Small Talk, and we continue with 7 minutes Bhagavad Gita a day. We are reading from chapter 6, the Yoga of Meditation, and we are reading Lord Krishna's answer to Arjuna, how to succeed in meditation despite the restlessness of the mind. And Lord Krishna, the blessed Lord, said, 35, undoubtedly, Almighty armed Arjuna, the mind is difficult to control and restless, but by practice and by dispassion it may be restrained. So we saw what practice, or in the Sanskrit word abhyasa, means. And now we will look at dispassion, or in the Sanskrit word vairagya. Swami Shivananda explains in his commentary, Vairagya is dispassion or indifference to sense objects in this world or in the other, here or hereafter, seen or unseen, heard or unheard, achieved through constantly looking into the evil in them, dosha drishti. So Swami Shivananda is giving us a practice that any of you who is familiar with the Raja Yoga Sutras is familiar with, and this is contemplation on the defects in the objects. That gives rise to dispassion, and the objects are the sense objects in this world or the other, so meaning also not to seek heaven here or hereafter, so in this life or the next life, seen or unseen, whether they are grasped by the subtler senses or by the grosser senses, whatever it is, heard or unheard, achieved, and this dispassion is achieved through looking at the defects constantly. So it's a state of mind. It's adjusting the state of mind to understanding that the objects cannot really give us what we're looking for. Swami Shivananda tells us you will have to train the mind by constant reflection on the immortal or blissful self. You must make the mind realize the transitory nature of the worldly enjoyments. You must suggest to the mind to look for its enjoyments not in the perishable and changing external objects, but in the immortal, changeless self within. Gradually, the mind will be withdrawn from the external objects. So, Adi Shankaracharya, the great expounder of yoga, tells us samsara is full of pain and nothing but pain. Samsara, this world in which we are undergoing birth and rebirth and rebirth and rebirth. And it is what? Full of pain. Not just full of pain, it's full to the brim, full of pain and nothing but pain. So some people say, what is this yoga? Is it meant to make us depressed? To make us so discouraged? To make us so miserable? What is this full of pain and nothing but pain? Why should I desire to live? When we really contemplate this, there are very, even in the Bhagavad Gita, there are very, very strong expressions about the suffering of in the world. It is called the world of death, devoid of any joy. So it can be a little bit depressing. And yet, yogis are happy people. So how does that work? Swami Shivananda tells us, first, understand you're looking at the wrong place. The objects cannot give you what you want. But side by side, understand that what you really want, why you want to be happy, because your essential nature is happiness. So instead of trying to satisfy this knowledge of yours that your essential nature is happiness and therefore you should be happy by reaching out to the objects of the world, which will not give you this happiness, you should strive will be a more appropriate word, to reach the real thing, the real bliss, the real joy. But we have to qualify this statement. Yes, here Swami Shivananda is giving a commentary to the instruction of Lord Krishna, the principle how to develop this passion. But the principle of doing a gradual practice, remember, little by little, is very, very, very important here. It is not the advice here to be depressed about everything that we have in life, saying it's worthless. It is not the advice here. Actually, in other places we saw Lord Krishna is saying, let no wise man confuse the minds of ignorant people who are attached to actions. Don't tell them that everything that they're doing, that everything that they have is worthless. They will be confused, they will be discouraged, they will be despondent, they will not be inspired to practice. First inspire, tell them there is something higher, look for it. And the more the student shows this ability, this readiness to handle the truth about what the objects of the world really are, the more we give them practices of this passion. But this passion is not built in one day and is not built by forcing ourselves to see only negative in the world. Is not the way. We have to keep the mind cheerful, inspired. We have to keep ourselves in a position that we are able to function in the world. And then as we make progress, the teacher will lead us on the path to this passion. And this is a very important element to understand, and a little bit more about the principle of this passion in the next talk. So please join us. Om Shanti.